Hello.
Hello, everyone. Just trying to turn there we go. All right. Hi, Gregor.
Hello.
Our next presentation is from Gregor Reischle. Correct me if I'm saying that wrong.
That's totally fine, yeah.
Awesome. From TÜV SÜD. He is the head of additive manufacturing. So Gregor started his career in additive manufacturing in Hamburg in 2008 as head of production for dental prosthetics using powder bed fusion metal systems. Gregor holds few patents in this field and has enabled over 80 industrial-grade additive manufacturing centers worldwide by providing trainings, consulting, and certification services. He was one of the founding members of Additive Minds consulting unit of EOS. Gregor is presently the head of additive manufacturing at TÜV SÜD. In addition to establishing 3D printing technologies in production, he is passionate about lived quality assurance in practice and lean entrepreneurship. He has defined TÜV SÜD industrial AM strategy and formed a team of experts. Gregor has an engineering degree and has recently completed his executive MBA in innovation and business creation at TUM School of Management in Munich. His personal goal within the AM industry is to enable the success of additive manufacturing on an industrial level. I'll hand it over to you. If you don't mind sharing your screen as well.
Oh, okay. I thought I did already. Give me a second. Share screen.
Right. Perfect.
Does it work?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Gregor. I'll hand it over to you now.
All right, so everything is perfectly set up. Welcome, guys, from Munich. Yeah, we are in the middle of the Corona crisis, like elsewhere in the world. And for us, especially in TÜV, it's important to help the entire community in additive to bring these parts which are required faster to market. And faster to the demand where are really necessary in these days. In general, we are preparing for that since already 3 years, and I personally since over 11 years. The ideal vision, my personal vision is, of course, that we print parts on demand and they come up with a safe and reliable way with the quality which is needed for their final use. Of course, the road is long, and we are somehow maybe in certain industries in the beginning, but we proved already in certain industries that this works, and and it's a fantastic momentum. And generally, we have 20 persons globally working on standardization and certification for additive manufacturing industries, for all technologies and all aspects, especially focused on health and safety and quality. Therefore, we designed an industrial aim readiness approach. So like we understood in the additive world within the last 5 years, what does it mean to design for additive? A design needs to be suitable to fulfill the value of additive, but as well to fulfill the process requirements. And the next level is to understand how a production needs to be set up to fulfill industrial demands. And therefore, we created this campaign, Industrial Aim Readiness. So we are able to provide a kind of a requirement to production sites, to persons, and solutions in the industry, and say, okay, this is industrial ready or not. And this helps actually to provide such a hurdle, helps with the faster access to reach the final goal for safe, economic, and sustainable production of final parts. Why is it required for AM technologies? As first of all, it's still somehow an early majority technology for in use in production purpose, or for in use for end final parts components. And as we just look for 30 years of experience, and especially the first 20 years were spent in prototyping, the experience level on setting this technology in production context is still quite low and just related to few pioneering achievements from regulated industries like aerospace, medical, maybe some consumer goods already as well, like the glass frames and others. But we are therefore to make this know-how available to all industries and to all potential products which needs to be produced. And therefore, we are creating a clear roadmap. There's an additional risk in the process, which comes from the build process itself in the printer. So it's a layered technology, and to assure a reproducible part quality, we need to specifically take care about the build process risks and build process validation. So in direct comparison with the conventional methodologies like CNC milling, the risk is way higher actually in 3D printing. As CNC milling, we have no risk of material property deviation within the process itself. In 3D printing, it's a build process itself. There's a high risk of material properties deviation. So specifically, we need to take care about the build process, which is validated and ideally reproducible in such a manner that the part quality stays the same. Additionally, on top comes the workflow complexity. So as additive is never an island, it's always integrated with other technologies for pre and post processes. We need to take care about the workflow. So from the design to the end. And this kind of two complexities in this method being applied in production purpose cause so many implementation hurdles. And that's why we created this service portfolio to address exactly this hurdles. And it starts with qualifying a system being ready to produce in industrial environment. Qualifying a material being reproducible and ready to be used in the system and in a reproducible build process. Workflow certification is especially nowadays where we need spare parts in hospital being placed, production methods close to hospitals, producing parts on demand with the same quality globally wherever a part is required. We need a workflow certification with all important KPIs which the parts to be produced requires. Of course, we need to take care about the production facility itself and the specific risks in the person and the people, and if there's already available a digital quality assurance, potentially to integrate those digital quality assurance tools into the entire solution, providing industrial grade readiness. So here's an example based on standards and certification, how such a industrial safe and reproducible production quality can be achieved today. There are general quality management requirements globally known from ISO 9001 to ISO 13485 and ISO 9100 and other industry-specific quality management system certifications which help to provide a quality management system. This is, first of all, nothing to do with the additive-specific risks in the process and additive-specific workflow risks. Therefore, we created a quality-assured production site certification, as well with a standard behind it, which is at the moment at the DIN level, so a German level, but in English and German, available for free for everybody for download. So if you Google DIN Spec 17071, you will find a free download link to this standard, and this can be applicable by all production sites in the world to achieve a quality assured production site status. This standard gonna be published hopefully at the beginning of next year on ISO ASTM level. We are in the process to bring this standard to an international level. On top of this, as we assure a production site which is capable to produce quality assured, we need to take care about the specific part workflow and part KPIs, as well as the build process, the hardware, and the material used for this part specifics. So this seems to be complex, but actually with this five-step approach, it's kind of grabbable and easy to understand what needs to be done, how to set up a production which is reproducible and capable to deliver parts on demand. I will give you a few more examples how this works. So, for example, if we print such a component here globally and on demand, and we have globally certified production sites according industrial grade production site requirements, you just send these parts to such a facility, let it produce, and can be sure that all parameters which are needed for these parts to be traced and tracked are fulfilled by this production site. So this is our vision, and this is something where we're working on together with the international standardization organizations, but as well we as a global certified certification body, together we enable such a scenario. As I mentioned, the DIN Spec 7171 is just the first standard which is published right now for manufacturing site. It's already adopted in Germany by few production sites. So this is Siemens, Toolcraft, Protec, Blue Production, Evonik. They are already certified according to this standard. And 2 next months, hopefully soon, we have Sauber Motorsport and Rosbach. In general, we have global first contacts of customers which ordered this industrial aim production site certification. So here, if you just start to implement the processes, it's something between 3 months and 1 year to have everything ready. This depends on your capacity of how well are you equipped with quality management in general, and how much manpower are you able to put into defining your quality assurance procedures. Yeah, so we have a success story, we have a momentum. There's a bunch of customers and sites which are already today capable to deliver parts on state-of-the-art standards. And that's, I think, mandatory, especially today. If somebody asks us who is capable to produce parts for ventilation system or for components which are dedicated to being approved by notified bodies. So these production sites at least offer state-of-the-art quality assurance of their production. So, and this is the difference, because they don't just have state-of-the-art equipment, which enables them generally to print, but they implemented already today state-of-the-art standards, which is certified by TÜV SÜD and in future for sure by others as well, which makes them capable to show that to their potential part providers and OEMs. So, and these OEMs on the other side can be trustful that the job is printed right and the all required parameters and quality assurance steps are fulfilled. So it's game changing. And as in Germany, we have first momentum in the railway industry. So the Deutsche Bahn only works with certified companies. So they regulate a little bit the market. And that's as well important from an OEM side, that OEMs commit as well to such a new standards like this one. Because if nobody employs the standard or lives it, our industry becomes still undefined and everybody does something, and we just stay a niche and a marketing industry. So we did the first step. We provide a standard for free. So please implement the standard. And if it's not good enough for you, give us feedback on the standard in the TC261 committee. We are there in the Joint Group 75 to get you feedbacks on the standard. And it's related for all AM production sites. We are working and talking and explaining that to all regulated industries, automotive, aerospace, airplane industries, and medical. Because they all have the same requirements, and this is transparent and safe and reliable productions and parts. So the pilot projects based on part production, which we did with in Germany in the railway segment. This is a critical component here, which we just have in use already and installed in the railway system showed us that such a company site certification takes out the complexity to approve such a part. It's already a huge value, but not everything, because there are always component specific requirements, like in this part here, which is a highly kind of critical component, and additional quality assurance, which is part specific, needs to be made. And these are the upcoming standards which we are working on. It's a workflow certification and as well specific hardware readiness to be able to reproducibly deliver part quality. So here we have first project with hardware manufacturer from Munich, Kumovis, but as well with Ultimaker and Lehmann Voss, which committed to join forces and bring material and system together, qualify the build process, and to serve this to the market to assure reproducible part quality. Again, in this scenario where we right now, if this would be already ready and finished for certain parts which are strongly required right now, this would be very helpful, because we just send out a digital file around and can be sure that the quality wherever printed on a system and the material stays the same. So for that, we think it's required that we have a build process certification, and as well, in general, an capable industrial AM system delivered. Industrial AM system is a little bit the broader scope. So we see here a requirement for the entire package for the industrial AM system, which comes with such an installation, and the person which is implementing this in a production, in serious production, he can be sure that the system fits to his KPI requirements for his final parts. Yeah, so these are this next step for the industry, what we are planning to do. And the build process certification is already a project which we are running and doing, and this is done as well by nearly all serious industrial grade machine manufacturers, that they validate material on the system and qualify the system with a specific material and the material property sheets. Okay, if we become a part of this kind of project, you have this third-party trust in it. So there is an additional layer of trust. There is additional proof of quality, which quite often makes sense, because we take out the marketing aspects of the value proposition, and we promise what we can deliver through such a third-party implementation. Which is great, which our industry really strongly needs, because we need to move out from this scenario of selling dreams towards selling what the technology really can deliver. Therefore, we need to work all together. Honestly, machine manufacturers, material manufacturers, the users, the OEMs, need to sit together and understand what needs to be standardized. And there's a home for it. It's a general, the TC 261, which brings together the ISO side and the ASTM side, and we meet twice a year and discuss all standards which needs to be managed and together written for hardware, materials, processes. So please be involved on the US side in the F42 committee, which works here under the umbrella TC261 together with ISO and CEN committees. And that's wonderful, because there's one world, one technology, 3 different organizations, standardization organization working on the same standards. And this usually is very challenging in other industries. In additive manufacturing, we have this scenario, so all of us should use it and work here together under this umbrella. It makes totally sense, because then production on demand globally becomes potentially possible sooner than later. talking about personas or personal certifications, we think that that the following roles needs to be kind of treated by standards, and there are standards in creation already on ISO STM side. Standards for an engineer expert, for an quality expert, and for a machine operator. So here we work together with as well on a ISO STM side on standards for the AM coordinator, for the metal AM process engineer, and the metal AM designer. So these going to be 3 international standards which clearly say how such a proof of a role of an AM process engineer needs to be qualified. That's very helpful because today we just rely on experience, and it's easy to write, I am an expert on my business card. But this does not mean that these experts is capable to quality assure industrial grade process implementation. So therefore, we need the standards, and this just happening, and I think it's within the next 2 years, they're going to be first drafts of these standards, which are applicable for each company which is hiring their staff based on such a standard, or establishing an educational path for the engineers based on standards. So this helps as well to move our industry from being a niche industry towards industrial grade accepted industry. Here an example how we are executing this. So all this role-based qualification procedures you can already book in Germany at least, and we are scaling this program globally. So our academy, TÜV SÜD Academy, is operating here internationally as well. So you can are able to participate soon as well on online courses to qualify for such a role. Yeah, the last but not least, as well, very important thing is the digital quality assurance part. So doing all this homework, what needs to be done in standards and certification on the simple, old school way, I would say, qualifying a technology and certifying it for certain KPIs. Will be as well disrupted within the next 10 years as more and more digital quality assurance becomes capable to supervise the processes and themselves. So now we think as well the regulation side, so the TIC players, testing, inspection, certification, needs to rethink their value proposition. And especially with additive, we are able to change from qualifying a product on the old school way, like testing it and checking the parameters around it, to a digital quality assurance. And as one thing in additive that we can mark the parts with a code for free. It doesn't cost extra. It's just the labeling of a part on top. Of course, this might be not for all parts easy possible, but there are workarounds for that as well. But in general, a marking of a part with a digital code is possible. So if 3D printed parts will have codes on them, and you scan such a part and become a part report immediately on your smartphone, this makes just sense because it brings an additional safety layer to the entire technology, which other conventional technologies can't provide so quickly, because to bring a code additionally on conventional way is much more expensive and time consuming. So we are using here the benefit of producing codes for free actually, and providing an additional layer of security and safety with such a service. We are just in process with our pilot customers, certified production bureaus, and as well the first OEMs to design here this service. So if there are potential pilots for that, you are welcome to contact me and become a part of this first digitally marked parts and produced with a code parts, so which are for their lifelong time traceable via such a digital part report. Yeah, so welcome to contact us, especially in the next upcoming years. We see companies like Link3D and other MES system solution providers are becoming a very important key data delivery center, which gonna be strongly required to have such a part report highly automatically released with each printed part. So therefore, we are already today partnering with, of course, all MES system providers and provide them with the capability to provide such a part report with us together. And this as well is a very collaborative approach. There's no exclusivity here. It's just a commonly developed system which helps everybody in the market to bring our technology to a more reliable status than it is today. Yeah, finalizing my presentation, today's we have this standard approach of approving a general quality management system requirement, ISO 9001 and so on. There's a new standard, DIN Spec 17101, which you can use for quality assurance in your production site. And on top, there's a workflow specific for a specific part, hardware certification and build process combined with a material. We're working on different standards here. Partly of them, they are not released now, just as a draft status. So welcome to join my joint group 75 on the TC261 and work actively with us on these standards. I think it makes sense because the technology can save lives and can provide great solutions to all engineers in the world. So for safe, economic, and sustainable production of final parts, get industrial aim ready with us together. I'm open to all your questions. Thank you so much from Munich.
Thank you, Gregor. So we can go ahead and get started for a few minutes on Q&A. First question for you is TÜV SÜD and the industry considering standards and certification for powder reuse?
Yes, especially from, we are in the aerospace committee, and the powder reuse is a question which all industries are actually struggling already since years. And this needs to be standardized, and there is a new standard in the pipeline, but the very beginning, I would say in 3 years, we will have a standard here specifically related to powder reuse.
Awesome. Another question for you. With respect to reproducibility, how is this addressed for aerospace, and is it in line with MMPDS requirements for a statistically controlled process? Any advancements on standard test artifact? So there's exactly a standard on test artifacts. I think this standards will be published soon. But this is related to the TC261 joint groups. So I think this should be better answered by the convener of the particular joint group when this is going to be published. And of course, in aerospace industries, there's a huge potential on one hand side. What I just recognized that is, of course, that the challenge that we don't have so much experience in flying parts for years, and the vibration is one thing. So the tests for really to test components which never been designed like in a new way with additive before, and the evidence or proof of concept is not there yet. So an aerospace industry tests in general all parts 100%. If it comes to cabin interior, it changes a little bit because these parts are less critical. So companies like Etihad Airways, they see in 2026, 60% of their cabin interior parts are 3D printed. And that's already amazing vision and shows us that there's a commitment from the airlines, which at least before Corona was there. I hope it's we're gonna be all have this back what we are working on. And
yeah, but in cabin interior parts in cabin industry is, I think, faster reachable. In general, structural components, it's a longer roadmap.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gregor, for presenting and joining us today at the digital conference.
Thank you. See you later in the chats. Welcome to contact me for any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregor.